morning students. Once again, welcome back to the class. So today what I have thought to discuss with you people is something related to 10 important questions from the chapter Chemical Bonding and Molecular Structure. And the questions that I have chosen for today's session are basically from JEE Mains pattern paper. Okay. So let's try and solve all the 10 questions. So it's my guarantee that all the questions will be really good and I'll try to go into the detailed solution as much as possible. Okay. Fine. So with that promise, let me begin up with the session, and here on the board you can see our very first question. So our first question that you can see on the board, it simply says, according to the molecular orbital theory, you need to tell which out of the 4 options will be correct. Okay. It's a single correct answer question, so let's try and do accordingly. So first it says, according to MO theory, O2 positive is paramagnetic and the bond order is greater than O2. O2 positive is paramagnetic and bond order is less than O2. O2 positive is diamagnetic and bond order is less than O2, and O2 positive is diamagnetic and bond order is more than O2. That means in this question I can see I need to prepare the molecular orbital diagram for oxygen and for O2 positive, and I need to find out whether both of them are paramagnetic or diamagnetic. Also I need to figure out what is the bond order. So let's make the 2 diagrams. So we have sigma 1s, sigma star 1s, sigma 2s, sigma star 2s, right? Then for oxygen we have sigma 2pz, then we have pi 2px, pi 2py, then we have pi star 2px, and the another one is pi star 2py, and finally we have sigma star 2pz. Right? So this is the molecular orbital diagram for oxygen. And if I draw it again, sigma 1s, sigma star 1s, sigma 2s, sigma star 2s, sigma 2pz, pi 2px, pi 2py, pi star, and finally we have sigma star. Right? Now let's say this left hand side diagram is for oxygen, or let's do one thing, let me draw a similar diagram here. Sigma 1s, sigma star, sigma 2s, sigma star, sigma 2pz, pi star, sigma star. So I have this habit of drawing it in short, and I don't feel like writing those sigma and all, because that's a little confusing thing. So now this particular diagram I'll consider for oxygen, and this particular diagram I'll consider for O2 positive. So oxygen will be having a total of 16 electrons and O2 positive will be having 16 minus 1, that means 15 electrons will be there, right? So now let's start filling the electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, let's fill 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? Now let's see, both of them are paramagnetic. So this is also para, this is also para, right? Now let's look into the options. So it says that O2 positive is paramagnetic, okay, paramagnetic, dia. So option number C and D will not be the options, right? I mean, they will not be the correct options. Now let's do the calculation of bond order. Now see, sigma 1s, sigma star 1s getting cancelled, sigma 2s, sigma star 2s getting cancelled. Here also, so these 4 get cancelled. Here also these 2 and these 2, that means these 4 will get cancelled, right? Now how to calculate the bond order? So bond order is half number of electrons in bonding minus anti-bonding, and the same way here, half total number of electrons in bonding minus anti-bonding. So let's do the calculation for bonding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 minus anti-bonding is 1. So this is 5 by 2, which is 2.5. Clear? So the bond order in the case of O2 positive is 2.5. Let's do the calculation for oxygen. So bonding is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for this we have 2. By the way, you must be knowing the bond order of O2 because oxygen is having a double bond. So this is 4 by 2, which is 2. So now did you get from this solution that the bond order of O2 positive will be greater than that of oxygen, and the bond order is greater than oxygen. So typically you can see option number A is the correct option for our question. Clear? This was an easy question, and yes, the only thing that you should be considering in this question is how fast you will be marking the correct answer. Okay. So this was about our question number 1. Now we need to move on to our second question, but before that you need to give me a moment so that I can clear the board, and then we'll move on to our next question. Finally, moving on to the next question, we have our question number 2, and our second question says that the compound with maximum ionic character is formed. So you need to talk about the compound which is having maximum percentage ionic character. Let's first look into the options. We have Na and Cl, and you all know, right, that NaCl is an ionic compound formed of Na plus and Cl minus. Then we have cesium and fluorine, which will be forming cesium plus and fluorine minus. Then we have cesium and iodide, and then we have sodium and fluorine. That means you can see on the board the ionic compounds that I am forming, they are generally formed by taking the cation which is coming from group number 1 and the anion which is coming from group number 17, right? So if I write है, ली, ना, की, रूबी, कैसल से फरार, right? And on the other hand, I will be writing fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and so on, right? Now you know, right, for the stability of an ionic compound, we need to say that the intermolecular force of attraction, or which are electrostatic. So the electrostatic forces of attraction that will be holding the cation and anion together should be the strongest. And how will the electrostatic force of attraction be strongest? When first of all the cation will be highly electropositive and the anion should be highly electronegative. That means the cation should be made up of highly electropositive metal. So we know electronegativity decreases down the group. So cesium plus will be the it will be the smartest cation, and here the electronegativity increases when you go from bottom to the top of the group. So F minus is the one having maximum electronegativity, right? So this particular bond so formed between cesium plus and F minus will be the one that will be the strongest electrostatic force of attraction, and because of this maximum ionic character will be present. One more thing I'll tell you, see, for maximum ionic character we need to bring into account the Fajans rule. So if covalent character is minimum, ionic character will be more. Now see, I want that the cation should be bigger so that its polarizing power should be minimum. And if you would have taken lithium plus, so lithium plus is the smallest cation, so with maximum polarizing power. Rather, I want the cation with least polarizing power. So if cesium is there, it's such a big cation, it will not be able to polarize the electron cloud of F minus, which is very small in size and is quite rigid. Okay, so this question will be completed once you will be bringing into account the Fajans rule. So the cation has to be, see, so for maximum covalent character, cation should be smallest and anion should be biggest. But on the other hand, for maximum ionic character, cation should be biggest and the anion should be smallest. So making it our option B. Clear? So this was our question number 2. Now we need to move on to our third question. So I think second question, this question was really good. So having done this, I'll just bring on screen the third question. Okay, so see on the screen there is question number 3, and question number 3 says that you need to predict what should be the correct order of increasing CO bond length of carbon monoxide, CO3 2- and carbon dioxide. Okay. So, this question you can answer once you know the structure, all the structures of CO, CO3 2- and CO2, right. Let us start with first of all carbon monoxide, which is like this. Then we have the another one as CO3 2-. So, in CO3 2-, if I do like this, half number of valence electrons of central atom plus number of atoms attached by single bond is 0 because oxygen forms a double bond. And then you need to add this 2 because there is 2-. So, 6 by 2 is 3. So, this should be sp2 hybridized. So, the structure will be, so there are 2 negatives. So, 2 oxygens will be forming single bond and 1 will form double bond. But you know there is resonance. So, this will come here and this will go there. So, you will be writing C double bond O, O minus, O minus, right. Finally, this will come here and this will go there. So, this will be C, O minus, then we have double bond, O minus, right. Now, if I ask you to tell me the bond order, the bond will not be a single bond and the bond will neither be a double bond. So, it will be in between a single and a double bond. So, it will be around 1.5, right. In the case of carbon monoxide, the bond order will be 3 because there will be a triple bond. And now we are left with the third structure, which is of carbon dioxide. So, see, the bond order between C and O is 2. So, 2 bonds are formed, right. So, now let us read the question. The question says, the correct order of increasing CO bond length. So, if the bond order is largest, bond length will be minimum. So, CO bond order is 3, length will be minimum. So, let us choose the option where CO will be minimum. So, the correct order of increasing bond length. So, CO has maximum bond order, so minimum bond length. So, neither this nor this, either option number C or option number D. Now, moving on to, so CO was bond order 3. Then we have CO2 bond order 2 and then we have CO3 2- bond order 1.5. So, the bond length will be smallest in the case of CO, then will be CO2 and then will be CO3 2-. So, this will be our correct option for this particular question. Okay, not a tough question, quite an easy question. Done? Fine. Now, having done with this thing also, now we will be moving on to our next question. Okay. So, if I have to proceed on to my next question, which is question number 4th, let us see. And the question says, intramolecular hydrogen bonding is found in which of the following? So, see, we have done this thing, no? That hydrogen bonding can be classified into 2 categories. The first is intermolecular and the second is intramolecular. So, intermolecular is between 2 different molecules. So, if this is one molecule, this is another molecule, and if the 2 are getting connected with each other through hydrogen bonding, this is intermolecular. Whereas, if within the same molecule hydrogen bonding is taking place, this is intramolecular hydrogen bonding, right. Now, see, this question is not tough, but the reason why I have chosen this particular question is to make you people understand the fact that these organic compounds you must be knowing in class 11th itself. Do not wait for class 12 that okay, class 12 will be coming and then we will study organic. It's a no. At least these common name compounds, like common named compounds, you should be very much okay with. Fine. So the first compound that is given to me is salicylaldehyde, which is a compound like a CHO or an aldehyde group is there at one position in the benzene ring, and at the ortho position you are having an OH group. So it's a phenol as well as aldehyde group. Okay. Now can we see that there is hydrogen bonding here? Let's try to figure out. So let me draw C, double bond O, and then H, then we have OH. So what is hydrogen bonding? That hydrogen should be sandwiched between two electronegative atoms, one through the covalent bond and other through the dipole attraction. So oxygen and hydrogen is sandwiched in between. So yes, see, within one molecule hydrogen bonding is taking place. So yes, this is the correct option. Okay. If you want me to go ahead, I'll go to the second option, which is water. Now see, in the case of water, intermolecular hydrogen bonding does take place, not intra. So between two molecules you can see hydrogen bonding is there. So water will not be an option. Third is, if I talk about phenol itself, let's draw here. So one molecule of phenol gets attracted to another molecule. So here also two different molecules are used up to form hydrogen bond. So this is inter. So none of them are the examples of intra. So the only example of intramolecular hydrogen bonding is option number A. Okay, that's it. Now, so having done this fourth question also, let's finally move on to our next question, which is our question number 5. And I think this time question number 5, I remember I took it a little different, but let me just see the question so as to make sure whether the question is having single option or multiple options. So I found this question quite interesting, so I took this question number 5. Yeah, this is a multi-correct question, so multiple answers can be correct for this question. Let me just do the question. The question says, which one of the following molecules is expected to exhibit a diamagnetic behavior? Fine. That means simply you have to draw the molecular orbital diagram, but make sure while you draw the molecular orbital diagram, there will be two categories. The first category, where our number of protons in the molecule will be greater than 15 or less than equal to 15. Fine. So if number of protons is greater than 15, I will draw sigma 1s, sigma star, sigma 2s, sigma star, sigma 2pz, pi 2px, pi 2py, pi star 2px, pi star 2py, and sigma star 2pz, right? Whereas if the number of protons is less than equal to 15, then we have sigma 1s, sigma star 1s, sigma 2s, sigma star, pi 2px, pi 2py, sigma 2pz, pi star 2px, pi star 2py, and sigma star 2pz. Right? Let's start filling and filling the electrons, then we'll be able to figure out the correct answer. So first is carbon. Carbon is having a total of how many electrons? Carbon is having a total of 6 into 2, 12 electrons. So see, so less than 15, no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So yes, C2 is diamagnetic. Fine. So yes, A will be the correct option. Then we have nitrogen. Nitrogen is 14. So once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14, that means again it is diamagnetic because all the electrons are paired. This is also the correct option. Now see, if I do for oxygen or I do for S2, that's one and the same thing. And why is it so? This is because we can say oxygen and sulfur are both having the same outermost electronic configuration. So let's directly solve for oxygen, we'll get the answer for sulfur also. So number of protons are greater than 15, for oxygen it's 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So two unpaired electrons are there, so it's paramagnetic. That means neither oxygen nor S2 will be diamagnetic in nature. Clear? So the correct option for this particular question will be our options A and B. Done? So guys, this was about our 5th question. Now let's move on to the next question. Let me clean the board again. And I think the next question that I have taken, yes, it's again a multi-correct question, but this question is quite good because, I'll show you what was interesting in the question once I solve the question. Let me begin with the question. The question says, hydrogen bonding plays a central role in which of the following phenomena? So there are 4 phenomena given to you and you need to tell me hydrogen bonding is responsible for which all of them. The first option that is there is ice floats on water. Yes guys, this is the this is the result of hydrogen bonding also, right? Because we know, right, that so when we say ice is floating on water, so ice and water. So water in solid as well as water in liquid form, both are having the same molecular formula. Then so there must be a difference in the 2 densities. So density of ice is not same as the density of water. That is the reason one will be lighter than the other and hence ice will float on water. Otherwise it should sink or otherwise there should not be anything, right? So densities must not be same. Now when I talk about density, I talk about mass per unit volume. So in a unit volume, what is the mass of water? That is of importance, right? So I think you people would have learnt in NCERT that otherwise water is something like this. So 4 molecules of water will be undergoing hydrogen bonding in normal case. But when ice will be formed, another water molecule will come and it will get fitted here, because of which there will be change in the crystal structure of water, and thus there will be a change in the overall structure of ice. Because of which a particular volume will have different molecules of ice and it will have different molecules of water in the solid state and different molecules of water in the liquid state, because of which density will be different and because of which this floating will be done, right? So yes, the first option is correct, that ice floats on water is the result of hydrogen bonding only. Fine. Moving on to the next option, which says higher Lewis basicity of primary amines than tertiary amines in aqueous solution. So see, this word aqueous solution says a lot of things. We have to basically talk about the Lewis basic character. So what is Lewis basicity? The tendency to lose the electron, the lone pair, right? So lots of electron pair will mean that it will be a stronger Lewis base. Let's talk about primary amines. So primary amine is something like this. And 1 lone pair will be there. And then we have tertiary amines like this, nitrogen attached to 3 R groups. So see, if I would have been talking about the gaseous form, then I'll say that because of inductive effect, lots of electron density should be there on nitrogen. Since lots of electron density is there on nitrogen, it should be a highly Lewis base, right? It should be a stronger Lewis base, correct? But now the important condition is not the gaseous state. The important condition is in the aqueous solution. And we know in the aqueous solution, hydrogen bonding takes place. So let's say this lone pair is common. This lone pair is common. So whatever loss is there, like whatever availability of lone pair is there, is because of this as well as because of this. So that is same. But in the aqueous solution, you can consider 3 water molecules will come and surround the ammonia, making it really stable, but there won't be such hydrogen bonding taking place in ammonia, right? because of which there will be a change in the basic character and the order that we expected will be reversed in the aqueous solution. So yes, the higher Lewis basicity of primary amines than the tertiary amines can be explained on the basis of hydrogen bonding itself. Fine. Moving on to the next option, it says that formic acid is more acidic than acetic acid. So see, if I am talking about formic acid, it is HCOOH. And when I am talking about acetic acid, it is CH3COOH. So once again guys, when you are watching my video, maybe you would have learnt organic chemistry, or maybe you would not have even heard of what is formic acid, what is acetic acid. Even if you would have heard of it, you might not have understood how to talk about acidity. But again guys, one of the major reasons why I wanted to discuss this question in this chapter, because so many questions from general organic chemistry GOC can be answered on the basis of the chapter chemical bonding. Fine. So that is the reason why I give you a tinge of organic chemistry in this particular chapter itself. Okay. Now see, when I talk about acidity, I will say that acetic acid is an acid because of the H plus which can be donated. Similarly, formic acid is an acid because it can donate H plus. So now we have HCOO minus and H plus, and here we will have CH3COO minus and H plus. Now the more stable the conjugate base will be, the more acidic the acid will be. So let's see, a resonance is taking place in this particular structure and you are having HCO minus double bond O. Similarly, resonance occurs in this structure and you will be having CH3CO minus double bond O. So again, because of resonance, I won't be able to explain. But this CH3 group is actually electron donor group. It is actually giving electron density to the oxygen minus and thereby increasing the negative charge on oxygen. And when the negative charge on oxygen increases, negative charge on the whole molecule increases, the whole molecule becomes unstable, and hence we say that acetic acid will not be that strong an acid. However, there is no such inductive effect produced because of hydrogen, and thus this complete molecule will be stable, and hence formic acid will be regarded as a stronger acid because it has more tendency to give up H plus. Fine. So, but this entire explanation has got nothing to do with the concept of hydrogen bonding. So, the comparison of acidity of these two acids cannot be done on the basis of hydrogen bonding. Fine. Now, moving on to the last option, and the last option says dimerization of acetic acid in benzene. So, when I talk about the dimerization of acetic acid in benzene, so we have CH3COOH. You know, this is acetic acid, and when you put in benzene, another molecule of acetic acid can come so close to the first molecule that they will undergo dimerization. So, see, hydrogen sandwiched between oxygen and oxygen, hydrogen sandwiched between oxygen and oxygen. So, it is a dimer, it is a double molecule so formed. So, yes, the dimerization of acetic acid in benzene is also explained on the basis of hydrogen bonding. Okay. So, guys, this was our 6th question. Let us do one thing, note it down, and then I will be moving on to the next question. First, note it down, guys. Okay, so I think everyone is now done with question number 6th. Let us now move on to our next question, which is question number 7th. The board is not that clean, just give me one more minute. Okay, so question number 7th on the screen that you can see, and it says that the stability of species lithium 2 positive, lithium 2 minus increases in the order of. Now see, since we are doing this question in chemical bonding, so you are like, okay ma'am, it can be answered on the basis of MOT. But if the question would have been asked in the complete paper where there won't be any segregation that you have to choose this from chemical bonding or stuff, then you will be confused because you will keep on thinking. And suppose if the question is given like compare lithium to KLi2 and Li2F, then you will be confused how to do the question, how to do the answer to the question, because you would have never heard about KLi2 or Li2F, right? So in that particular case, let me tell you, if the question is like this, then think how, when the same things are given, lithium 2 positive and lithium 2 minus. So anywhere you see questions like this, O2, O2 positive, O2 minus, right? So they can be answered on the basis of MOT. Fine. So let's draw the molecular orbital diagram. Sigma 1s, sigma star 1s, sigma 2s, sigma star. These are enough, we don't have to draw more. Sigma 1s, sigma star, sigma 2s, sigma star. Right? Now let's do the numbering. Let's draw it for lithium, Li2 plus and Li2 with a negative sign. So when I am drawing Li2 plus and Li2 with a negative sign, how should I move on? So lithium is having how many electrons? Atomic number 3. So lithium 2 will have a total of 6 electrons, right? Let's fill 6 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Lithium 2 plus will be having how many? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I have lithium 2 minus will have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Now let me tell you, whenever you have to see, okay, you can consider these two are same everywhere. So we will not compare on the basis of this. Either you can find the bond order. So bond order will be half 2 minus 0. So half of 2 is 1. For lithium plus, the bond order will be 0.5. For lithium minus, the bond order will be, now see, so half 2 minus 1, which is 1 by 2, which is 0.5. So this is the bond order. Now out of the bond orders, you can see lithium 2 is having the maximum bond order, so should be maximum stable. So let's choose the molecule in which lithium 2 is there as maximum stable, right? But then how to do the comparison of lithium 2 plus and lithium 2 minus? Don't say that, ma'am, when the bond order is same, then both of them should be exactly equal stable, right? Please do not say that. Because when you are getting the bond order same, then you need to compare whether the last electron is found in bonding molecular orbital or anti-bonding. So here it is in bonding molecular orbital, whereas in Li2 minus it is in anti-bonding molecular orbital, and whenever the last electron enters the anti-bonding molecular orbital, it will be even lesser stable. So we will have lithium 2 plus, lithium 2 minus, and thus saying option number B as the correct option for this question number 7th. Good enough, right? This question was nice. Now we need to move on to the next question. Give me another minute and I'll get on board your next question, question number 8. So while we talk about question number 8, the question says, among the following species, you need to identify the isostructural pairs. Isostructural pairs means they are having the same structure. Iso means same, structure means structure. So they are having the same structure. And if I first write down, one is NF3, then we have NO3 minus, then we have BF3, then we have H3O plus, and then we have N3H. So see, this is not ammonia, so please don't consider it as NH3, it is N3H, right? Let's start doing. So we have NF3, how we do? Half number of valence electrons of central atom 5 plus number of atoms attached by single bond 3. So 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So it will be tetrahedral, but out of 4, 1 will be, so bond pair will be 3, lone pair will be 1. So this is a lone pair and hence the final structure will be like this, a pyramidal. Okay. Now let us compare let us do NO3 minus. Half number of valence electrons of central atom 5 plus number of atoms attached by single bond 0 plus 1 charge is there. So 6 by 2 is 3, that means it is sp2 planar. Next we have is BF3. So half number of valence electrons of central atom 3 plus number of atoms attached by single bond 3. So once again this is sp2, right, trigonal planar. So first of all let's go into the options. So first option says NF3 and NO3 minus are having same. NF3 and NO3 minus are not having same. A cannot be the option. Then it says NF3 and HN3 are same, and the another it says NO3 minus and BF3 are same. Maybe. So here one option is correct. So maybe this is the answer. Third it says NF3 and H3O plus. Again we have to do NO3 minus and BF3. So maybe this is also the option because 2 are there, right? Then we have NF3 H3O plus and HN3 and BF3. I have not, so none of this contains NO3 and BF3. So even this cannot be the option. So now finally let's draw the structure of H3O plus. Half number of valence electrons of central atom 6 plus number of atoms attached by single bond, which is 3, and then we have minus 1. So we have 9 minus 1 is 8, 8 by 2 is 4. So 1 will be lone pair. So again this will be the structure. So can I simply say that these two structures are same, right? So even this will be a correct option because these two are same, and here in this option the two are not available. So simply I will move on to say question number 8 is having option number C as the correct option for the question, right? Again not a difficult question, but yes, a good one. So having done with this, let's move on to our 9th question. Okay, so now on the board you can see question number 9th. It says that which contains both the polar and non-polar bonds. So polar bonds means any bond which will have dipole. I am talking about, I am not saying polar molecule. There is a difference between saying polar molecule and a polar bond. So a molecule can have a polar bond. It is not necessary that the molecule will be polar. Fine. Like for example, if you consider a molecule CH4, the whole molecule in itself contains 4 polar bonds because there is a difference in electronegativity of carbon and hydrogen, but the overall molecule is non-polar. So do not get confused with this statement. Fine. Now let's try and do. First is NH4Cl. So polar is also necessary and non-polar bond is necessary. So we have NH, there is a difference in electronegativity of N and H. So all polar bonds are there, but, and this is ionic bond, but I cannot see any non-polar bond. Non-polar bond will be formed when 2 atoms are same. So NH4Cl cannot be our option. Then we have HCN. So HCN is written like H, C, triple bond N. So C and N are different in electronegativity, so polar. H and C again polar, but no non-polar bond is there, right? Consider H2O2. So this is the structure of H2O2. There is a difference in electronegativity of oxygen and hydrogen, so polar, polar, polar. But see, oxygen and oxygen are same, so the electronegativity is same, so there will be non-polar bond. So this is our correct option, where both polar as well as non-polar bonds will be available in the same molecule. Okay. Now I need to move on to my last question. let us do this last question also, and then we'll be done with today's session. So the next question is our question number 10th, and now the question says, molecular shapes of SF4, CF4 and XeF4 are. So first of all, we need to figure out whether they are same or different. So let's directly find out the shapes. So now we have SF4, half. So number of valence electrons of central atom 6 plus number of atoms attached by single bond, which are 4. So making it a total of 10 by 2, which is 5. 5 means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Out of 5, 4 are bond pairs and 1 will be lone pair, right? Now CF4 will have half, 4 plus 4, which comes out to be 4, out of which all 4 are bond pairs and 0 lone pair, right? Now see, this is sp3 dehybridized and this is just sp3 hybridized. So when I read the options, it says that the molecular shapes are same. No, the molecular shapes will be different only, right? And let's do for XeF4, half, 8 plus 4, 12 by 2, which is 6. That means now it is sp3d 2 hybridized. Again the shape will not be same. Out of which bond pair will be 4 and lone pair will be 2, right? So they are different in shapes and the number of lone pairs are 1, 0 and 2 respectively. So different with 0, 1, 2, no. 1, 0, 2 lone pair of electrons, yes. So option number D will be the correct option for our question number 10th. Okay. So again, this question was easy, but yes, such kind of questions are actually asked in JEE Mains paper, right? So guys, here I presented before you some 10 questions which I found are quite good compared to if I compare them on the basis of JEE Mains paper, right? But guys, these 10 questions are not enough and I can't discuss all the questions with you. So it's your homework that to mark the chapter chemical bonding as totally done, you need to do at least 50 to 60 more questions from the same chapter. Then I can say that your chapter is prepared, okay? So make sure before you go on to the next chapter, please do some other questions on the same topic, fine? So that's it for today and then we'll be meeting in the next class. Thank you for the class. Bye-bye.